Thanks for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News, and I'm Michael Miller. Our guest today is Mike Fernandez with the Miami-Dade County School Solid Waste Management Division. That's a big, long name and title. Today we're going to be talking about hurricanes. Hurricane season is coming up June 1st to November 30th. That seems like we only get a couple months break.
Seems like it, right?
Yes. So let's talk about hurricanes. And before we get on to years ago, the county would always, and the news, traditional TV would tell us, season's coming up here, go do these things you need to do to protect yourself. So why don't you tell us some of the things that we should be doing? And although it's not June 1st, it's coming up pretty soon. And so we know the storms are starting to brew.
Yeah. So, and by the way, thank you for having me here today. From a solid waste perspective, we want you to do your cuttings now. Don't wait until that warning, that watch warning time to start cutting things down. So, trim those trees, schedule your bulky pickups, and clean out your yard now. Don't wait, even though hurricane season's 2 weeks away. Start now. Don't wait in the peak season, or again, when a watch warning scenario is happening, where you're putting this stuff out there, and it could be now debris being launched all over the place.
So we know when a storm is out there, we all get sort of nervous and we don't quite think right. And so I have this fantasy of the storm is coming, get out of the ladder and cut down all that stuff. The time to do it is now, where you don't have that extra stress that's there. But let's talk about the landscaping in one's house. What can people do with the debris?
So if you're going to cut down your landscaping, and you can either, again, schedule a bulky, call our 301 system, or go online, schedule a bulky pickup. We'll go out there in a few days, pick that up. Or you have the alternative of coming to one of our 13 trash and recycling centers. If you're one of our customers, come by many times as you want, 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. Just come by and drop it off there. But again, I reemphasize, do not wait until the hurricane's approaching.
So there's another reason to want to cut it down early, so you don't have to wait in line.
Absolutely.
I've seen some of those lines during the.
It's like a gasoline situation recently. Everybody starts going towards our locations to try to drop this off. Everybody at the same time is going to go to these places, and there's limited capacity. You're gonna have to wait in line. To avoid all that, just go ahead and start early, plan ahead.
One of the things that we did, I forget what storm it was, last year or the year before, we had a lot of trees around one of the apartments, and we trimmed those trees. And every one of the trees fell, and everyone missed the apartment because we trimmed them.
There you go.
Because the roof would have been
demolished.
Right. And so there's lots of reasons to do that. But when I drive down the street, I see these little piles out in front of people's houses. That's when they call up and say, hey, I have this, right? Correct. It's not a regular pickup like in city of South Miami. They'll go around, and they just cruise around. With the county, you have to call in.
Right. Our system's different than some of the other municipalities. You do have to call in. It's actually a lot more efficient than having trucks just drive around block to block looking for stuff. You're actually telling us where the material's at, so we go straight to your home. But also the flip side, the beauty of what we have is these drop-off sites. Again, they're open 7 days a week, unlimited amount of times you could go there and drop off what you need, when you need it, when you want to do it.
So somebody has a pickup truck. Most of those are pickup trucks, right? I suppose. Say hi to the camera right over there. There we go. Yay! Finally got it. All right. So people go in their pickup trucks. So many times we see these trucks with the debris hanging off the side and the back and the limbs, and they're floating around. Yes. And sometimes people don't even tie it down.
Yes.
So what's the recommended maximum they should be on the back of these trucks?
So you don't want to go over so if you have a typical pickup truck, don't go over the bed of your pickup truck. You want to try making sure you hold it within and cover it, and see if you can get a tarp, cover your load, put some bungee straps on it, cover it. Because at the end of the day, by the time you get to one of our sites, it's going to be all over the street. It's going to be all over the place. You've probably lost half of your load on the way to the drop-off site.
And the person that's behind you and behind them and behind them, it gets to be rather
and
dangerous.
And also, you want to avoid, we will issue a ticket if we see unsecured loads if you're coming to our sites. So the last thing you want is to get a ticket from us.
So frequently, people hide their stuff in the bottom of the pickup truck, and then they put the stuff on. But then when they start unloading it, it winds up at the top.
Yes.
So tell us about the guys that are standing there watching and getting people to park.
How do you know that, Michael?
I used to do it a long time. Finally, I gave up. I said, I'm not doing this anymore.
So yeah, unfortunately, we have folks that try to outbeat the system, and they'll hide the tires or the concrete. But mind you, you see a bunch of vegetation, but the truck's on the ground like a lowrider trying to come into the site, barely making it. But yeah, when you come up to our site, our waste attendant is going to check your ID, make sure you're one of our. The reason we check your ID is we want to make sure you're one of our paying customers.
So what does that mean?
So every resident that uses our trash and recycling centers actually pays towards that function. So if you're one of our customers that has a green and blue card, you're paying towards that. You're funding that. The last thing we want is other people.
What is a green and blue card?
So so the waste card, your green waste card. If you're one of our customers, you have the Miami-Dade County waste cart at your home. For your garbage.
Cart. I'm sorry,
cart.
Okay.
So you're one of our customers. The last thing you want is folks abusing the system that are not paying towards that and making your fees go up, basically. So this is something that you're entitled to because you pay for it.
So you're saying that people from out of town frequently do that?
So they'll try. So maybe you may get folks from neighboring counties or from neighboring cities that are not part of the program that don't pay, try to come into our trash and recycling centers to drop off their loads. Guess what? You're funding that. And the last thing we want is that your rates go up because people are abusing the system.
And listening to the conversation about us being clients, customers, and that we're paying for it, I never thought about it. It just didn't process that. So when somebody comes from out of town, hey, you don't belong in this club, you're in somebody else's.
Right. And then and the same token too is, let's say you're a business. Let's say you're a handyman. You're going around charging people for disposal. Last thing you want is people are abusing the system to make extra money by bypassing the system, not paying for disposal because they're saying it's coming from their home. So those are things we're looking at, and we monitor that. We if you're going to different sites, let's say you live in horse country, and
son of a gun,
and you're going to our Snapper Creek TRC. Then suddenly you're going to the one up in County Line, Miami Gardens, and then you're going to the one down south somewhere else.
How would you know that?
We actually monitor your action. How many? We have a report that shows all the different trash and recycling centers everybody visits, and we can actually run reports to see.
So you're saying that when we give them the license, that gets recorded?
Yes, it does.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, it does.
How do they record? They take a
There's
picture?
an access. No, there's a. Those are wireless access points where we keep data on that.
Very, very cool. You can't get away with it anymore.
No more.
Right. So let's talk about the folks that are in the commercial landscaping business. They can pay a fee.
Mm-hmm.
And how much is that fee?
I believe it's about $25 right now for a load. Basically, it's a load.
And the load is what type of truck?
It's a regular pickup truck or a trailer, maybe 6 feet long.
So when we see these great big tree trimming trucks, and they have the first part that all the stumps get ground and put in there, right? Where do they go?
Depends what site you're going to, but let's say they go to one of our trash recycling. They could visit one of our trash and recycling centers and drop it off there, or go to one of our landfills. But depending on the logistics, most likely will end up our waste to energy facility where it's processed into renewable energy.
Let's speak about that. So you got a really neat thing going on over there.
Yes, we do.
All the stuff goes into this building. Is that the one out in Doral?
In Doral, yes.
In Doral, and trucks back up over there. So let's say the truck's there and they take all the stuff out of the truck. What happens?
So we process it. We put in this pit. It's about 20, 30 feet down, and then we shred it up in little pieces. It looks like almost like a mulch material. From there, we call it feedstock. It's basically you're making the fuel for the boiler. So once we get that feedstock to that mulch material, it goes into our boilers. It burns it about 1,400 degrees, I believe it is. And in these boilers, there's these water tubes that come through these boilers. So water travels in these water tubes. It heats that up into steam. The steam pushes the turbines that are connected to a generator. And guess what? We have power.
You're not going like
You're
this.
not going like this.
So when folks put into those green things, the green carts, stuff that's not supposed to go in there, but you still get it, you still dispose of it the same way, except for if it was put in a different cart, the black one, right? The blue one, I'm sorry.
The blue one.
That could go for recycling. And the majority of that is recycling.
Correct.
So the fellows that go out and they pick up those cards, let's see if I got it right, 340-something thousand homes you service.
About that, yep, 340,000. We estimate about almost 900 and some thousand people. So, but yeah.
And they go to these, that's 340, is that 2 times a week?
Twice a week, yep.
My goodness.
Millions of touches a year.
And
millions.
And a lot of people have 2 or more cans.
Correct.
That's a lot of...
About 5%, about 5% of the 340 have an additional card.
Really?
Yeah.
So if I happen to have 3 or 4, all right.
You're part of that 5%.
So it's just because my tops are broken and I don't care. All right, I'm going.
We'll get you some new cards.
No, that's all right. No, it's all right because I'm going, you know what? I'm going to wait until this sucker just completely falls apart. All right.
So we could just dump it in with it.
We'll just put it right inside the other. So when there are a lot of people, when they have a little bit of landscaping, you know, some leaves and stuff, they put it into the green carts. And it's not supposed to be that way, but people do.
You know, we could take it. We'll take it mixed in with the garbage. It's going to get processed the same way at our waste energy facility. Again, we process to capacity. It's about close to 65% of the total volume that we control. So we process over 1 million tons there. We have about 1.8 million tons in our system that we control. A lot of it does have to get landfilled, but the majority does get processed in our waste energy facility. Again, we've already reached capacity in our waste energy facility.
So two things. I want to talk about that grinder that had these big metal teeth that eat up cars and stuff. Do you have something like that?
Yes, at our waste energy facility. But let's going back to the hurricane side of things. We do during hurricane season. Let me just go back to hurricanes. We do have these reduction sites. So we do have temporary, we call them temporary reduction sites, debris sites, where when we collect after a hurricane. So let's say Irma, for example, we collected over 4.4 million cubic yards of debris. I mean, that was like the biggest hurricane debris operation in the United States. I mean, southeastern United States for sure. That was operating back in 2017. At one time, we had over 1,000 trucks on the road, and it's contractors, by the way. It's a combination of contractors as well as our internal force.
Picking up debris.
And our goal there is to make sure we could get the county picked up, cleaned up as fast as possible. We could get back to normal, right? And in that time, we had these debris sites where we bring this debris to these sites. We shred it up into like a mulch material, and then we ship it away. We do ship it out the county. And
now that you brought up about Irma, I remember that clearly. Like as soon as the storm was out, you guys were out there on the roads cleaning them up and get it off the road so transportation could continue. Right. But it's also when that stuff is hanging out, we don't feel too good about that. Seeing these big piles, which they always grow, right. You know. So yeah, you bring in outside vendors that are ready to go at any time, right? And they clean up the roads.
Right. We plan ahead, so we make this hurricane plan. Our department, we do tabletop exercises during off season, aside from hurricane season. We'll do training, chainsaw training for our workers in case we have to cut a tree into smaller pieces, maybe blocking a road or something. But we have the contracts in place for collection. So we have 3 contracts in place, actually 2 now. It's actually 3. We have a monitoring contract that is out there making sure there are eyes and ears out there because I mean, imagine the whole entire county, we don't have the staffing to cover the whole county to be watching contractors, what they do. So they're basically our eyes and ears.
Then while it's going on or before?
While it's going on during the operation. Then you have collectors, trucks. Now you bring all these trucks, a fleet of equipment, people, personnel, come in, you assign them areas. And not every hurricane is the same. Irma, for example, was a hurricane that, what I heard, it was a tropical storm when it really came land. But it kind of went up north, right? It went from south to north. So it kind of hit the whole state all the way through, right? So the whole county had debris everywhere. It's not like Hurricane Andrew was mostly down south, Country Walk area.
So how do you manage that from a point of having vendors that have either business or what about their regular business? Do they have these trucks just sitting there waiting for a storm?
Well, yeah. I mean, let me tell you, during Irma, it was like a convoy of people from everywhere, even from out of state. I think Harvey had hit Texas at the time, Houston, I believe.
So how it's such a wonderful feeling when you see the neighboring electricity companies coming down.
Yeah,
right. It's help is on the way, and as Kate Hale said in 1992, "Where the heck is the cavalry on this one?" You remember that, right?
I remember that.
Getting goosebumps thinking about it. She's doing yes.
I remember that. Yeah.
So, and when we see these trucks out there, whether it's Florida Power Light or neighboring friendly states, and we see the garbage trucks, is that what they're called?
So yeah, there's a combination of we call them grapple trucks. So it's the one with the hand, the crane, basically to pick up the debris.
Is that like the kind of the store where you pay $0.25 or $1?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, you get a prize, but in this prize, you're getting debris with it. So yeah, I mean, we get folks from outside the county. They come in convoys. They I like to call them like almost like hurricane chasers. People that do this for a living. They come out. They bring their fleet. But the great thing, a lot of our contractors are local, where they know the area, the environment, and they bring the subs in to help clean up the county, and it works. It's a system that works. I was actually at that time I was the assistant director at that time, managing all the contractors at that, basically assigning, making sure horse country was getting cleaned out.
We like that. So one of the things that we've had, I think, at least the people in my circle are really happy with government recently in the distribution and the inoculation or vaccination of people, to where we've seen some of the finest work that we've done in a long time, right? And so certainly as the hurricane season gets up there, because it's out of our personal control, we look to government again to keep these things going. So we've got, what if you're looking at your yard and you look up and your trees are really big and they're going into the power lines?
Mm-hmm.
Who do they call?
That's a good question. I think you call the utility, and I think they can help. If not, I think you just need to hire a professional certified contractor that knows how to deal with that. But yeah, that's a good question.
So I can tell you that when we have a challenge, I don't call the local landscaper. When I look at it, I said, I don't want them getting killed on my property.
Because all it needs to do is arc, right?
Yes. So when somebody has a lot of debris and they don't want to put it in the yard, what else could they do with it?
Again, the alternative is you could just bring it to one of our trash and recycling centers, or coordinate maybe with a neighbor if they don't want to put it in their. Maybe there's some sort of property next door. Just let us know where it's going to be at, so we can make sure that we could connect that debris to your home. Basically, those are the two alternatives. Now, if you're talking pre-storm, you're talking post-storm, just leave it out. Keep tabs on the radio, on the news, and we'll be sending out crews out there to clean all this stuff
up. It's
a
really good time, folks, to after the storms, to clean out the rest of the stuff. Hurry, empty the barn, clean it out, get it on the street.
Yeah.
And Mike Fernandez told me it was okay to leave it in the right of way.
Yeah, just make sure make sure that's not impeding the traffic flow. You don't want to get in the middle of the street. You're blocking the street now. You can't get through the street, right?
So let's talk about people that are doing work on their homes. Mm-hmm. Inevitably, especially in the last 15 months, people are doing a lot of stuff at home. By the way, it's pool sales went up 24%.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yes, that's why one of the reasons there's not much chlorine, because poor people bought
pools, huh?
Yeah, think about that. So more pools and long food lines. Go figure. All right, and that's the way life is sometimes. So as far as construction material, mm-hmm. from whether it's created because of somebody you hired or because you're a handyman, what do they do with that?
So they could again schedule that through a bulky pickup.
They'll pick it up.
Yeah, they'll pick it up. I mean, it can be blocks of concrete now, but if it's wood, mixed
2x4s,
2x4s, yeah, we'll pick that up to three cubic yards. So 3 cubic yards is equivalent to maybe the size of 2 refrigerators, maybe 2.5, maybe 3 refrigerators worth. It's a decent size. I mean,
so one of the big box stores, I haven't seen the ads recently, but they have this big tarp that sort of has hooks on it, and you put the stuff in it. Then you call the company, and they come and they mm-hmm. haul it away. All right.
Right.
So certainly that's an option for people. But again, with these big landscapers, when they take it away, all right, and the bed seems like it's like 10 feet tall, 15 feet long. They take it to one of the facilities.
So when you're talking an oversized vehicle like that, they have to come to our final destination, basically. So it's going to be either one of the landfills, like the one we have on 248th Street down south, or up on county line on 215, or to our waste energy facility. Those type of vehicles can't fit in these trash and recycling centers. They're smaller scale. For like a vehicle, personal vehicle, once you get into a trailer, I mean, people have a hard time already now trying to back up with their pickup truck. Imagine a trailer like that size trying to back up and normally it's on a utility truck, right? It's not even a normal vehicle. So yeah, it just becomes a safety issue at a trash and recycling.
So tell the folks how often, if they will somebody that works at the dump go to their house to actually see if the stuff that they brought to the dump is from their house or from somebody else's?
So we do have code enforcement officers that, again, run these reports that are checking to see they do come by your house. You might not know it.
One of my neighbors got that.
So, and we just want to make sure people are staying honest and this is not being generated from a business that you're doing on the side. That's coming from your home, because that's the nature of the whole process. The whole purpose of this is that these are to cater to our customers for the stuff they generate at their home, not from businesses. And
they could call a private contractor to pick up their stuff.
Correct.
So getting back to the hurricanes, it's coming up, and certainly within a month or so, we're probably going to start seeing I hate to say it. All right, here comes a storm. All right. God. Yes. Oh yeah. And I was looking at a tree the other day. I said, call the neighbor again. Tell them it's time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in rural areas, lots of times people can leave it without ruining their grass or putting it on their driveways. One of the things that we've seen in horse country is where somebody puts out a pile and they haven't called the county yet, and it's out there for 3, 4, 5 days, and just watch it overnight grow.
Yeah.
Right? And so part of it is when the people somebody's putting their pile out, is to call 311 or you can do it online.
Online, yeah, prefer. I mean, we make it real easy now. I mean, you could just go online. Everything is on the phone now. Everybody uses their phone. You don't have to wait to speak to somebody. You could just schedule it, and it gives you a confirmation.
I've seen sometimes people will get a ticket because they have the pile, and they got out into the street, and where they've called the county and said, listen, my pile when I put it out wasn't that big. Somebody else, there seems to be an exception for that. If you've called in before and they hadn't gone out and pick it up and it grows overnight, you
just got to report it to us. Let us know what happened, and then we'll go out there and investigate. Make sure, because we could tell. I mean, we see if you have umbrella trees in your house, and then suddenly you have, we don't see any palm trees, and you have palm fronds all over the place. We could tell it didn't come from your home. So just let us know. We work with the residents to make sure that they're not held accountable for that.
Typically, how long will the pickups be prior to the storm coming?
That's a good question, Michael. So a lot of folks think we're out there in the middle of the storm picking up. It's no fun driving these big vehicles, trash trucks, garbage trucks with these high walls on the side, because you're doing, it does this. We cut off at about 35 miles per hour winds, sustained winds, which is really pushing the envelope there. But we want to cut off at that time to give our folks time, because we want to make sure they're safe, right? We want to make sure they have time to get back. It's not like they could just turn off the vehicle, get off the truck, and get Uber, or get back to the office. They got to bring that vehicle back. So we take time. We take that into consideration. They got to drive back to the yard, basically, to drop off the truck. So we cut off at 35 miles per hour winds. So that's, just keep all that in mind when you're trying to put your pile out there, because take in consideration that if a storm is approaching, that's why I keep on saying, don't wait until a watch warning. Do it now. Start cutting now. Do what you got to do now before a hurricane's approaching. Don't do it when the hurricane's approaching, because we may have to leave that pile in front of your home. Guess what? That becomes a projectile now coming to somebody, either your house, somebody in your neighbor's house. It could really cause damage or hurt somebody.
My wife says I should go for a tour and spend a couple nights at your place over there.
My
question to you: those trucks that come by the house, pick up the green carts. How many pickup trucks worth of stuff go into that? I'm trying to equate how much, what sort of volume they hold.
So you mean the regular garbage carts?
Yeah.
So each of those trucks is about 31 cubic yards, holds in it, but compacted, it's almost like a 3-to-1 ratio. So you're talking almost 100 cubic yards. So he's got the math going on in his head. I mean, I'll tell you what, weight wise, you're talking about 13, 14 tons. So,
and what are those?
So
one's
a vehicle,
pickup.
Yeah.
One's a pickup that's
in a truckload. I'm talking a truckload, right? Each truck probably holds close to 5. We could probably get about 550 150 carts into a truckload. So that's about 13, 14 tons right there.
And when you smash it down,
It's compacted.
you say it's a third.
It's like a 3-to-1 ratio basically, but you're compacting the garbage in there so you can hold more, right? It's not just loose volume, but it's about 13, 14 tons. So a typical vehicle, what's 2,000-3,000 pounds roughly. So imagine how many tons. If I'm telling you 14 tons, 13, 14 tons times 2,000.
Okay, I know it's not hurricane related, but let's talk about the stuff that nobody wants to deal with, which is leftover paint cans and kerosene and gasoline and oil that's sitting around in that garage that nobody ever wanted to do anything and not sure what to do with it.
Right. So we have these beautiful home chemical centers, we call them, and you could bring it right to us, drop them off, and we can dispose of it properly. We have one in Doral and we have one down south. Also, if you go online, you could check our trash and recycling center. Some of those may take some of the weight, like the oil products, things like that. You could bring it to one of those sites, one of those convenient sites. But the last thing you want, please do not put that in your hurricane pile. Do not put that in your garbage can, because our garbage trucks are not leak proof. So the minute you put that nice paint can full of nice white paint, throws it in, it leaks it right on the back of the truck in your street.
Certainly is something that's spiritually good of disposing of that stuff properly.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's going to be a pain. Yep. So you either have got to dump it in the grass, dump it in the garbage, or take it where it needs to go.
Yeah, exactly. You want to take it to the proper place. The last thing you want is, we're putting this stuff in our waste stream. Again, these trucks are not leak proof. You're going to spill paint all over the street. We've had that happen before. And, the driver, he or she is focused on the cart, picking up that cart. But by the time they look back and they see a nice stripe of paint coming right behind them, it's too late. And then now, it costs us more, it costs us money to clean all that up.
And I'll bet if somebody looked into it, they could figure out more or less what route that was on.
We've tried pinpointing it. Yeah, but we have you just go back to the cart and you see the paint in the cart where it started.
Mr. Jones, I didn't do it. I said, yeah, but it was in your cart in your house. Typically, how long do carts last? More or less.
Lifetime, it's about 8 to 10 years. Depending how, and again, it all comes into account. Do you leave your car outside? Some people bring it into the garage. Some people keep it under the shade. Maybe you don't put it out twice a week, right? So it depends on that. But typically we could get about 8 to 10 years out of them.
And they are very, very sturdy. It seems like the blue one's a little bit sturdier. I don't know. That's because they're smaller. The blue or black ones.
It's going to be the same, Michael. It's going to be the same lifespan. I think what it is that we don't pick it up as often. So it's every other week, right? So like I mentioned, if you're one that puts out your garbage twice a week, some people don't put it out twice. Maybe they do once a week and they get by. Sometimes they do once and a half. Every other week they don't put it out twice. So all that, the more times you use it, it has a lifespan.
So people can go to miamidade.gov, look up the services that are provided. Plus, it's pretty intriguing. My granddaughter. Well, I have a young daughter too, but my young granddaughter. If her school wanted to find out more about how that works, do you have people that go out and speak to this classes?
Absolutely. Yeah, Michael, that's a great question. What I like, we do stuff all the time with schools. I mean, with COVID, it kind of got a little slowed down a little bit, but matter of fact, I just did something with Palmer Trinity High School, I think.
Yes.
I just did something there. But it's a great, just reach out to our public outreach folks, and they'll coordinate something. I may be there. Some of my staff will be out there, and we could talk trash. We could talk
like on the basketball field.
There you go.
Like in baseball timing. We could talk trash.
Right. But no, we take pride in what we do, and we love to talk. Talk what we do, and educate everybody on recycling, our waste to energy facility, which a lot of folks don't. Everybody thinks, the garbage just goes straight to a landfill. A lot of it, the majority of it, goes to get processed, reduced. It gets reduced and processed to renewable energy. It's
so
a great
people
thing.
Are just tuned in. So you pick up the trash, you put it, you smash it up, it creates steam at some point, which activates the turbines. The facilities run off the electricity that's there, and then you sell power to about 35,000 homes.
Well, we sell power to the grid. It's equivalent of powering about 40,000 homes. But we do sell power to City of Homestead, which is they have their own utility. We send them about, I want to say about 15, 20 megawatts, megawatt hours. And we do have a contract with them, an agreement to send them power. And we're constantly looking for other utilities that want to maybe buy our power. But I will say the plant itself runs off that power that it generates off the garbage. It's fully sustainable. It doesn't use power from like the grid or FPNL or anything like that. It's fully sustainable. Great thing. Great thing.
And I know it's not hurricane related specifically, but we know with all the online shopping that's going on, the amount of cardboard people at their house is tremendous. Here at our office, it's, Christmas is like every day around here. And we actually go through the effort of calling. I call him the cardboard guy on my phone. He comes up whenever he picks up whatever. Feels really good to be able to do that. But let's look at what people do, what they can do to be more conscious of how they dispose of debris.
Debris like hurricane debris, are you asking, or just debris in general?
Around their house when they're driving down the street and flick it out the window. Not in horse country.
No. So I mean, just do the right thing. Okay, so I think it starts at home, right? You want to make sure your recycling goes into the recycling bin. You want to make sure that I like to tell people, when in doubt, throw it out. Okay, don't put the palm fronds in your recycling.
When in doubt, throw it out. And then we have drain and cover from the mosquito department. I know there are a few other ones.
You love the mosquitoes. You love mosquitoes.
And the animal services got a slogan in there too.
No, but make it simple. Don't overthink it. Try to keep it simple. We call it the simple 5. Aluminum cans, glass, cardboard, paper, and maybe I'm missing one, metal, steel cans. But anyhow, you just want to make sure you once you get that, don't put the pull pump inside your recycling bin. Don't put your clothes that doesn't fit you anymore inside the recycling bin. Don't put tires inside the recycling bin. So when in doubt, throw it out. Put in your green cart. We'll take care of it from there. It's going to go to a good cause. It's going to go to renewable energy for the most part. And then the debris, the trash that you may clean up around your house, just schedule your bulky pickup ahead of time, ahead of hurricane season, ahead of a hurricane coming towards Miami. And you have the alternative of taking it to one of our drop-off sites, conveniently located all throughout the county.
So here's an interesting factoid. We've noticed that we are having more garbage that's created around here as more people are coming back to work. Yeah. What are you finding out at people's homes?
We saw during COVID, in the middle of the pandemic, at least a 20% increase in volume at the curb, basically. It's dropped out. It's dropped down a little bit. It's coming down a notch, but still more than pre-COVID. Takeout, food, DoorDash, I guess, or the food. Everybody, a lot more volume at home, a lot more ordering. Amazon, I guess, people are ordering at home, not shopping around. But things are starting to kind of stabilize a little bit. But I have noticed a larger volume. People cleaning out their homes, catching up on to-do lists, everybody just tossing things out. But we have seen an increase in volume at our curbside. So that was unanticipated pre-COVID.
Okay. Well, let's anticipate a busy hurricane season again. What should people do starting now? Like I said earlier, just get rid of stuff now. Do what you got to do now. Use your bulky pickups. Take it to the trash and recycling centers. Please don't cut in the middle of a storm or when a storm is approaching and expect our folks to be out there in the middle of the storm to collect this stuff. If not, you're going to have to bring that stuff in. And by the way, put your cart away. Don't leave your cart outside when the hurricane's coming, because you're not going to have a cart after the hurricane. There it is down the street.
Yeah, then you're calling somebody stole your cart. Yeah, it was Hurricane Irma that stole your cart. But I've done this for a long time. I couldn't believe I've been in the waste business going on 24, 25 years now.
You started when I was
12. Yeah, I told you, right?
Yes.
And I've dealt with hurricanes. I mean, Katrina, Wilma, Irma. Even in the private sector, when I was in the private sector, I think I dealt with one up in that hit the Treasure Coast or St. Lucie, Vero Beach up there. I think it was Hurricane Charlie. So I've experienced a lot with hurricanes. They're no fun. I'll tell you what, Hurricane Irma. I mean, and the great thing, we have a workforce that's hardworking men and women they're ready to go. I mean, 4:00 in the morning, right after Hurricane Irma hit that weekend, 4:00 in the morning, we were out there already getting ready to go out there and clean up streets.
And I'm glad you brought up about hardworking people. Since during the last year, I've developed a much higher degree of respect for people that are working for Miami-Dade County. We probably have 5 different departments here. They all seem passionate and love what they do and care a lot about community service. And it's certainly on a taller emotional, social issue level, working for the county and providing services to these customers, these clients, and to the community. So I commend you for your years of service, and Missy, to you as well. All right. And so we're going to wrap it up here. Again, our guest today is Mike Fernandez of Miami-Dade Solid Waste Management Department. Mike, thank you so much. Remember, hurricane season starts June 1st, so get busy and be safe. Tommy, thank you for the show, and we'll see you folks around. Bye. Have a good